has been widely tipped to win an Oscar for his portrayal of George VI in The King's Speech. Yes, he has.
Oh, yes, he has.
How the monarch struggled to cope with a debilitating stammer, but as our very own George explains, everyone who stammers has a very difficult story to tell.
500,000 adults in the UK have a stammer. That's 1 in every 100 and 1 in every 5 children. It can be an emotional challenge to overcome, and I know only too well how hard it can be. I've always had a stammer. It began when I was very young, and it got worse and worse until I was about 14, when it was so bad I virtually couldn't say a single word. It makes you angry, it makes you upset, it makes you sad, and you just think what a wonderful thing it would be if you could speak fluently. I've come here to meet some people who go to extreme lengths to hide their stammer.
You learn how to hide when you're quite young as you grow up, and you want to not stammer in front of anybody.
I find it so actually physically draining, stammering. You know, when you're in the moment of stammering, you know, even now, kind of, you know, my heart is really racing, really hot and really sweaty.
I've actually gone on the floor, fainted on the floor. I thought, I can't get out of this, there's no way out. I've actually passed out on the floor.
You avoid situations, you avoid words. You might. I've been in a situation where I actually used a different name because I found my name hard to say, so I called myself Steve.
You do feel a bit stupid because you do know what you really want to say, but you choose words that don't convey the full meaning of what you want to say, so you don't feel satisfied.
Science is beginning to shed some light on what the physical causes might be. It was always thought that if you had a stammer, it was because you were very, edgy, nervous, anxious. But it's not that. There are actually physical things involved, aren't there?
We know that there are differences in the brain. So we're going to use an MRI scanner, which allows us to take pictures of the structure of your brain, and then we can ask you to do things in the scanner, like speak, and we can record which parts of your brain are active when you're producing that speech. Right, here we go. So we're just going to have some sentences on the screen. I want you to read them out loud.
Twisted and turned on the bent hook. The swan dive was far short of perfect.
You want to take off your headphones, sir?
Okay, George, how are you doing?
Yes, I'm fine now.
This is a picture of your brain, and we do a bit of processing. And the red areas are the areas that are involved in producing speech. That part of what's called the premotor cortex is not active in people who stammer when they're doing the task that you just did. This part of the brain is involved in planning the articulation that you're about to produce. People who stammer skip that stage. They actually start speaking before they've fully planned what they want to say.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. That's the first time I've ever seen my brain,
yeah.
And I now understand a little more about why I stammer. Well, 40 years ago, if you'd said to me at the age of 14 that I would speak in front of audiences of hundreds and I would appear on live TV, I'd have said no chance. I couldn't imagine anything more ridiculous. While there isn't a cure for a stammer, and it is hard work, it's something that you can overcome, and it won't stop you achieving anything you want to.
Okay. Thanks so much, George. Well, Richard and Judy, you've both seen The King's Speech. Is it as good as they say it is?
It's absolutely fantastic. We went to a matinee, which we can now do.
Yeah. Sneak off in the afternoon to watch films.
A couple of days ago, and yeah, it is. You know how some films you watch, even if they're good, there's always a couple of minutes here and there where you think, come on, you're just riveted to the screen. And Colin Firth, in particular, is astonishingly good.
It's an amazing cast, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and Geoffrey Rush.
Geoffrey Rush is just... And Helena Bonham Carter's great as well. She's really good. But what I loved about it more than anything else was the final scene where he makes the speech and Geoffrey Rush is virtually conducting him through it. And there's such benevolence and warmth and love in that scene. Made everyone sort of come out damp-eyed, really.
Recommended.
Now this, talking of recommended, is the 8th year of your famous book club. Do you find it hard choosing the shortlist each year?
Well, we didn't... this is the... Get this straight. The Channel 4 book club was different from this, although it's still us. The Channel 4 book club, which began 8 years ago, is a huge success. Although we read every single book, we couldn't